Ifeoma's neighbors heard her mother's furious voice echoing through the small apartment complex. "Ifeoma, what do you mean you want to marry a Yoruba man?" The door to Mama Ifeoma's one-bedroom apartment slammed shut as she came out shouting, "Neighbors, help me oh! Ifeoma has killed me," she cried out, clutching the hands of neighbors who had gathered in curiosity. "Please don't mind my mother. She's just overreacting," Ifeoma pleaded with neighbors, trying to calm the situation. But Mama Ifeoma refused to let go of Mama Chichi's hands. "Mama Chichi, wasn't the man who abandoned you and the twins a Yoruba man?" she asked. "He was, oh. That unfortunate man was Yoruba," Mama Chichi replied, shaking her head. "Eh?" Mama Ifeoma shouted, rushing to hold Ifeanyi, another neighbor's hand. "Wasn't the woman that took all your money a Yoruba woman?" she asked. "She was, oh. Abike was a terrible woman," Ifeanyi said, looking at the sky as tears welled up in his eyes. "See? After all these things we have seen, Ifeoma says she has fallen for a Yoruba man, a Femi, Yoruba demon, Pepe people," Mama Ifeoma continued. "Not all Yoruba people are bad," Karu interjected, trying to diffuse the matter. She was Ifeoma's best friend. "Thank you, Ifeoma said, turning to Karu. "Tell my mother." "Why won't you say that when the both of you are friends?" Mama Ifeoma said with scorn. "If Ifeoma insists on marrying this Femi, no problem. I will cease to put my mouth in her matter. I cannot disown her because she's my only child. But compound people bear me witness. Ifeoma will handle what comes by herself." Months later, Ifeoma and Femi got married traditionally and had a white wedding. Mama Ifeoma cried throughout the wedding, whispering "Pepe, Pepe" as she wiped her eyes. Ifeoma was so happy. She was finally marrying the love of her life, Femi, a 30-year-old oil and gas company manager. He was a wealthy young man, extremely attractive and known to be responsible. 22-year-old Ifeoma had met him on her last day at the NYSC camp 2 years ago. Femi had come to pick up his little sister from the camp. It was love at first sight. When Femi was introduced to Ifeoma by Bola, his sister, he couldn't utter a single word for seconds, and Ifeoma laughed shyly at him. The rest, as they say, was history. Ifeoma soon became an entrepreneur who owned a fashion house, thanks to Femi's help in securing a place and providing financial support. She was the envy of all her friends. On their wedding night, Ifeoma complained of headache while they were still at the reception hall. She assumed she and her husband would rest and perform their marital responsibilities the next day. But she was wrong. That night, as she showered and took painkillers for her headache, she lay down to sleep. Not long after she closed her eyes, Femi started touching her. At first, she assumed he just wanted to cuddle, so she didn't say anything, but soon, it was apparent what Femi wanted. "My love," Ifeoma said softly. "Please, not tonight. My head hurts seriously," she pleaded. "It is not your head I want right now," Femi groaned. "I waited 2 years for this and now you want me to still wait?" His voice began to sound stern. "You're my wife now and I must have you tonight." Feeling overpowered, Ifeoma just laid there as Femi had his way. "See, it wasn't so hard," he said, with a smile as he left her to freshen up. Ifeoma cried as she also stood up to freshen up, but that was not the end of the hell she had gotten herself into. The next morning, Femi got dressed for work, surprising Ifeoma, who thought it would take a week or 2 for their honeymoon. "There is no time for such," he said when she asked him that morning, leaving her in awe. They had both planned to travel to Ibadan, his family residence, to spend a week in a new resort there. Later that afternoon, Caro came to visit. "Ah, my friend, this wedding glow suits you," she said, smiling as she held Ifeoma's face in her hands, turning her head side to side. Ifeoma laughed. "Thank you. How far? Where's your husband? Abi, you people have not started honeymoon." "Honeymoon?" Ifeoma asked. "We're not doing that one. Money must be made." Caro stared at Ifeoma like she had grown horns. "A week isn't too much now," she said. "You know, we spent a lot of money for the wedding. We have to make up for it," Ifeoma said, covering up for her husband, It was even my idea, sef. I will start going to work tomorrow as well. That doesn't sound good though. But as long as you newlyweds are happy, Carol said, struggling. Soon, the marriage between Ifeoma and Femi was 1 month old. Other than Femi's insistence on sleeping with Ifeoma every night, marriage wasn't too bad, she thought. At least she could be sure he wasn't getting it somewhere else. One morning, after Femi had left for work, Ifeoma decided to do some chores before leaving as well. She swept the entire house, did the dishes from the night before, did the pending laundry as well, making sure to wash Femi's clothes by hand, as he preferred it to the washing machine. She had just finished washing the bathroom when she started feeling discomfort. She hurriedly checked her period app, realizing her period had come. This thing self, why now? I have so much work to do this week, she complained, as she normally experienced every period flow and intense cramps during her period. A minute for a quick shout out to these amazing viewers. Thank you for leaving this positive comment. It really makes my day and keeps me going. And to get a chance for a shout out like this, just leave behind a positive comment and I will be sure to give you a shout out in the next video. Now back to the story. She stopped the chores and got ready for work, attempting to make use of today being the first day, as the flow wouldn't be as bad. At least she could get some work done before she left the rest for her workers, she thought. That evening, she returned home to prepare dinner and rest, as she was exhausted. As she started to cook, the cramps kicked in. I can't stand, she cried as she struggled to sit on the couch, calling a delivery service for food, as she would be unable to handle cooking that night. She quickly texted her husband to explain the new development, to which he said it was no problem. That night, after dinner, the pair showered and went to bed. An hour after Ifeoma finally fell asleep due to pain, Femi as usual began to touch her. Please stop, she pleaded. I'm on my period. And so was Femi's reply. Is it not blood? I should be the one complaining, but I'm not. Femi, must we do this every night? Ifeoma asked with tears in her eyes. Yes, this is my marital right and I must get it from my wife regardless, he said. As her crying increased, he held her hands. Ify baby, it's just a little blood. Don't worry about the mess. I'll clean it up, he cajoled. I am in serious pain, Ifeoma begged. Please, maybe tomorrow. As soon as she said this, Femi slapped her face. Shut up! Do you want me to beg you? As he said this, he pounced on her and slept with her. As soon as he was done, he showered and left for the guest room to sleep, claiming he couldn't sleep on the soiled bed. Ifeoma cried bitterly that night, and for the rest of her circle, the routine was the same. How can a man, a sane one at that, have his way with you during your period? Carol yelled. I will wait for him to return today. This is too much now. Does he want to kill you? I will call your mother, Carol continued. No, please don't call my mother, Ifeoma pleaded. She would say she warned me, but she did warn you, Carol interjected. I should have supported her, she said as she began to cry. You don't look good at all, Ifeoma. Please, let's tell someone. Let's do something, she pleaded. I am fine, Ifeoma said, faking a smile. We are just getting to know each other likes and dislikes. Femi is a good man. He loves me and takes care of my needs. Look at my fashion house. I owe everything to him, she said, pointing around her shop. I applaud him for the shop, Carol said, but enough is enough. Please don't say anything. It's a family matter, Ifeoma continued to plead. That evening, Carol went to visit Mama Ifeoma, recounting everything that had happened with Femi and Ifeoma. Mama Ifeoma, who had disapproved of the marriage, was enraged but kept her calm. I warned her, but she refused to listen. Whatever she sees, she should take it, she concluded. Is he hitting her? She asked Carol. I don't think so, Ma, Carol replied, her voice trembling. But the way he treats her is already bad enough. We have to do something. Alright, Mama Ifeoma said. I resolve hardening. I will speak to her. But for now, let's keep this between us. Ifeoma needs our support, not more people gossiping. Soon after, Ifeoma found out she was pregnant. Whenever she was out with Femi, people admired their union, praying for a marriage just like theirs. But behind closed doors, the situation was far from perfect. One night, as the couple sat to have dinner, Ifeoma went into labor. Her mother and best friend, alongside Femi, waited in the hospital reception until she gave birth. Ifeoma, the only child of her mother, birthed twins, and the hospital was filled with joy. Mama Ifeoma danced, calling all her family members and telling anyone who cared to listen about her grandbabies. Femi was happy too, but he insisted Ifeoma return home that night. Despite the doctor's disapproval, he continued to insist, and soon, Ifeoma was discharged since she had no complications. That night, Carol and Mama Ifeoma followed the couple home to care for the twins. As soon as Ifeoma slept in her bed that night, with the twins sleeping with their grandmother in the guest room, Femi began to rub her hands, attempting to take off her clothes. "Stop this!" Ifeoma yelled. "Throughout my pregnancy, you did this. I just delivered and you have refused to give me a day's rest. It is not happening." "Is it because your mother and friend are here that you think you have a choice?" Femi said. "You are my wife in sickness and in health," and he forced himself on her. This time, Ifeoma fought back with whatever strength she had left. She screamed and scratched at him, trying to push him away. The noise attracted Mama Ifeoma and Carol, who rushed to the bedroom. When they saw what was happening, they tried to intervene, but Femi pushed them away and continued his assault. "Stop it, Femi!" Mama Ifeoma screamed. "You are hurting her, you're killing her!" But Femi didn't stop. Ifeoma's struggles weakened, and soon she stopped moving altogether. Femi didn't notice, he just turned over and slept. In the morning, when the babies began to cry, Mama Ifeoma brought them to be breastfed. No matter how much she tried to wake Ifeoma, she didn't move. Carol and she tried everything, but Ifeoma didn't respond. They soon noticed blood on the bed, immediately understanding what had happened. Femi had already left for work when Mama Ifeoma called him home. He arrived to find a doctor and people consoling his mother-in-law. "I am sorry for your loss," the doctor said, confirming Ifeoma's demise. "We would need to contact the morgue to come take her." As soon as Femi heard this, he began to cry, rushing over to the bedroom where Ifeoma still lay. Minutes went by and Femi did not come out. When Mama Ifeoma entered the room, she found him undressing. "Ifeoma, why would you leave me? I am still young and have not finished enjoying my marital rights," he said as he began to undress. "Femi!" Mama Ifeoma yelled. "What are you trying to do?" Her voice attracted everyone in the house. They rushed in to see Femi with his trousers at his knees. "Let me do it one more time," he said as they pulled him away from the room. Mama Ifeoma began to cry. "I heard though, I did not understand. Femi killed my daughter and I allowed him. When he insisted she be discharged, I should have known," she said as she sobbed uncontrollably. Carol sat next to Mama Ifeoma and they both cried, recounting to whoever cared to hear what Ifeoma had endured. Femi was admitted to a psychiatric hospital where his sanity was tested. It was deduced that he suffered from a mental illness that did not affect his overall behavior, which was why it wasn't obvious. Femi spent 5 years in psychiatric care while the twins were cared for by Mama Ifeoma. In the quiet aftermath, as Mama Ifeoma rocked her grandchildren to sleep, she whispered a prayer for her daughter. If you were to take anything from this story, remember, not everyone who walks the street is sane. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your post notifications to be notified when I post a new video. And as always, bye besties. I'll see you in my next video.